In this video we're going to go through 7 reasons why Transformers Rise of the Beast failed. Reason 1. The budget of the movie was too high. Rise of the Beast had a budget of $195 million, that's a budget increase of $93 million from 2018's Bumblebee. Bumblebee grossed $465 million worldwide, a profit, albeit a small one. Prior to Rise of the Beast, Bumblebee was the lowest grossing Transformers movie and should have prompted signs to tread carefully. Instead, Rise of the Beast took on a whopping budget increase which only inflated due to COVID and a monstrous marketing campaign which to date, the costs remain unknown. With close to a $200 million budget, it almost demands monetary success, but with a flailing franchise that's trying to re-establish itself, a $93 million increase seems a poor decision to make. Reason 2. Rise of the Beast wasn't a true Bumblebee sequel. Rise of the Beast might be touted as a Bumblebee sequel. It takes place in 1994, 7 years after 1987. B looks pretty much the same, and of course there are plenty of recall references.
I know one was good to you, B, but this is not our world.
They are my friends.
But it's not a true sequel. Writer Christina Hodson said she knew where she wanted to go when asked about a Bumblebee sequel. In late January 2019, it was announced a sequel was in development. In January 2020, Hodson was no longer attached to the sequel, and 2 new writers were hired to write 2 separate Transformers scripts, Joby Harold and James Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt departed the project, noting the studio had opted to go with the script of Harold. Harold's script would shift focus away from Bumblebee and instead introduce Beast Wars to live action. Reason 3. Prequel, sequel, reboot, and ties to the Bayverse. Reason 2. Already established Rise of the Beast isn't a true sequel to Bumblebee, but to define what the movie actually is even more difficult.
So my question is, this movie has been quoted as it's a prequel, it's a sequel, and it's a reboot. I think each term carries a different expectation and pressure. So for the director and for the actors, if you wish to contribute, is that which is the heaviest term to carry and which is the lightest for you?
Oh my, that's a great question.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's a sequel.
There you go. There you go.
me-
Lord.
I mean, if you look at it from a timeline point of view, it follows Bumblebee. So, but it is a prequel in that it's before all the previous movies. So it sort of exists in its own way. What I don't think it is a reboot.
This debate only confused and infuriated fans, but also seemed to be a contentious subject for the director, producer, and the studio. Director Stephen Caple Jr. acknowledged the timeline moving from the 80s to the 90s, but added the movie has no real attachment to its predecessor. He also stated it felt like a true reboot of the franchise. Unfortunately, the producer didn't agree, or at least put doubt over the director's comments.
You can still watch the Bayverse and be on your own verse, so to speak. With us, we're definitely like, we want this to work. We want people to, it's a refresher, so you can call it a reboot in terms of like where we were starting. But yeah, it's definitely a new direction for sure. There's some things you could probably connect to it. Clearly B is like a huge connection to all the movies, you know what I mean, in terms of his car, his design, the Camaro and things like that. But it's a very small one in terms of the big ideas that we have.
There's been a lot of talk about reboots and does this have anything to do with the Bay movies? And the way I look at it is it's one world. And we started in 1987, Bumblebee, if you would, and now we're in 1994, and then Bay's movies started in 07. So I look at it as kind of a continuum. What's great in this movie, I think, is we have a character arc for Optimus Prime. It explains how he was in the Michael Bay films.
Reason 4. Michael Bay. If reason 3 gave concerns, hearing an article, a video reaction, or reading a comment that Rise of the Beast is a Michael Bay Transformers film would put you off entirely. It's hard to believe, but that actually happened. Areas of the media not taking the time to research that a new director was taking on the franchise. Instead, they presumed a return of big budgets and big live action meant a return of Michael Bay. Reason 5. No more Travis Knight. Albeit a small financial success, Bumblebee was a big critical success, scoring a fresh 91%. The movie changed the perception towards Transformers live action with a more heartfelt formula. For the studio to not push hard to bring back Travis Knight, who brought such success, could be seen as disappointing. It could also give out the wrong impression, implying the studio could care less about making good Transformers movies and only care about making good money. Reason 6. No interest in beasts. This reason would be unthinkable to me, but not every cinema goer is a hardcore Transformers fan, and even if you are a Transformers fan, you might not be a fan of Beast Wars. Movies prior focused on more obvious iterations of Transformers Generation 1. Most casuals have heard of Autobots and Decepticons, or Optimus Prime and Megatron. The same unfortunately can't be said for the Maximals and Predacons. Reason 7. The burden of being a summer blockbuster. Transformers Rise of the Beast hit theatres on June 9th with the intention of being a summer blockbuster. The issue unfortunately was that studios with other franchise IPs had the same idea, those being Sony's Spider-Verse and Warner Bros. The Flash. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse dropped 1 week before Rise of the Beast on June 1st, whilst The Flash hit theatres 1 week after on June 15th. Both movies were highly anticipated, and all 3 films were competing for IMAX showings and to put bums in seats. Across the Spider-Verse came out best, with 689 million made worldwide. It's worth mentioning the movie only cost 90 million. Rise of the Beast came second with 439 million, but a much larger budget. The Flash came out worst and was the dud of the summer. It came third out of the 3, only making 270 million, but on a stinker of a budget of $300 million, giving Warner Bros. And DC a resounding loss. What's evident from these numbers is that all 3 movies were fighting for moviegoers' hard-earned cash, resulting in none of them doing astronomically well. Add this fight to the current cost of living crisis and consumers being more choosy with what they spend their money on, it only makes hitting financial expectations even more challenging. So that's 7 reasons why Transformers Rise of the Beast failed. Which of these reasons do you think was the most costly? And do you agree or disagree with the reasons provided? Or perhaps you have a theory or reason of your own? Make sure to leave me a comment. If you found this content informative, please do drop a like on the video. And until the next one, thanks for watching.